Kim, and I've been meaning to record this video for a while now since I just finished working at a pediatric outpatient clinic, and a lot of the parents kept asking me questions about how to get their child to wear a mask, and also a lot of family friends who have kids with autism or kids with Down syndrome or just kids with just anxiety or just have anxiety from wearing a mask. A lot of them kept asking me like, hey, like what advice do you have for my child to wear a mask? And so I decided to make a video with a few tips on how to get your child accustomed to wearing a mask, especially right now with this pandemic going on and masks being required in a lot of places, and just to keep you and your child safe too, and other people. And so the first tip I have for you guys is to start in slow increments. And I think this is so important because it kind of gets your child accustomed to it instead of just kind of be like, good luck. And so the first thing I would do is I would maybe establish like a time frame, telling your kid, okay, today we're going to do 5 minutes of wearing a mask. And so you put a timer on and then go do something that distracts your kid, something fun, maybe a puzzle, bake some cookies, I don't know, whatever it is, because if not, it would feel like you're doing a plank, because that's when time just goes forever on slow. And so it's important for you guys to do something fun and interactive so it kind of distracts the child from wearing a mask. And so once you do that, you can be like, oh my goodness, look, you made it. It wasn't too bad. And so you can start with 5 minutes. I know some kids work well with the whole, you can start the stopwatch and just not tell them when the 5 minutes or however long you decide time is up. But I feel like it's important to kind of maintain those 5 minutes or however long you decide to do, because it kind of keeps that trusting relationship. Like, hey, I said 5 minutes, we decided 5 minutes, we're going to maintain the 5 minutes. So hopefully that makes sense. But anyways, so I think that's super important, and also to have an open communication with them. And so let's say after they finish their time that they said that you guys were going to do, just asking them like, hey, how was that? Was that uncomfortable? What can we do to improve it? Was that okay? Did you like it? Etc. And then from there you can move on maybe to the next day and do 10 minutes, 20 minutes, or however long you decide. And talking about the whole open communication thing, the second tip I have for you guys is just asking the child, hey, what do you think about masks? And I think this is so important because sometimes we kind of forget that kids may be scared of masks or may just feel weird that people's mouths aren't showing. And so just asking them like, hey, why is this weird or why is this scary, might kind of solve a lot of issues, just because they will just be like, hey, you know, it's weird that I don't see your mouth. And I know I had a patient who was scared about that. She could not see people with masks, neither her mom, neither of us, and just in general. And so when I asked her, I was like, hey, what's so scary about this? She was like, I can't see your mouth. And so we solved this problem by drawing a smiley face on my mask. And then she felt a lot better about masks, and she was able to tolerate seeing people with masks on. So I thought that was kind of cool, and so I thought I would share that with you guys. The third tip I have for you guys is modeling behavior. And so a lot of us have been quarantined for a while, and so maybe we haven't seen a lot of people with masks. We've just heard about it, but we haven't really left home. And so it's important for you as a parent, caregiver, etc., to model that behavior to your child. And so maybe y'all can walk around the neighborhood or something, be like, hey, today we're going to wear masks today. And then everyone as a family decides to wear a mask, and so the kid's like, hey, a mom or whoever is doing it too, I can do it. And so I think that's also very important. And going off of that, another tip that I have for you guys is starting a reward system. So let's say when it comes to doing mask at an increment of time, or it be wearing it every other day or however long, they get stickers for it or whatever. And maybe after 5 days of wearing it and doing great with it, they get 5 stickers, and at 5 stickers they get a prize, or they get to decide what game you guys get to play at family night, or maybe they can go get ice cream, I don't know, whatever it may be, you guys get a prize after something. So that could be another tip that y'all can implement. Alright, so the next tip I have for you guys is getting your child involved with making their mask. So whether you decide to make a cloth mask and maybe put some superheroes on it, some princesses, or maybe their favorite, who knows, character on it, or maybe their favorite color, they can be involved in maybe picking the fabric, or maybe online or whatever, and maybe sewing it together or ordering it together online. So that is a good way to kind of help them get involved in the process, and they feel like it's my mask. And another way that you guys could help them get involved in the process of wearing a mask is by decorating one of those disposable masks. And so let's say you only have disposable mask, is maybe adding stickers on it, drawing on it, maybe hot gluing some pom-poms on it, or whatever it may be, to kind of feel like, so your child can feel like, oh, this is my mask, I made it, this is so cool. So they can kind of get used to that. And speaking of different types of masks, it's also important for your child to maybe try different types of masks, and even you should try it too, because some people like the cloth masks better, some people like the disposable ones better. So whatever it may fit your needs, maybe one day you try one, try the other, and kind of see how your child's feeling, how you're feeling, and just kind of go from there. So a lot of parents also ask me how to keep the mask on the kid, because a lot of them tend to fall because they're way too big on their faces or whatever it may be. And so I have a mask, and I'm going to show you a couple ways that you guys can kind of manipulate the mask, I guess you can say, so your child can start wearing a mask and it's like on their face correctly. Alright, so I went to go grab my mask. I have my Baylor mask. And so the simplest thing that you can do is that when you put it on, is just twist it, like just twist it like so, and then put it over your ear. And you can twist it on both sides and twist it maybe 2 times to make it fit on their face so it's not falling as easily. So that's one way, but I'm about to show you a different way too that you can do it. I feel like, in my opinion, it's a little bit easier with kids to do, and I will be right back and I will show you guys. So if you Google how to kind of adjust the mask, there's a bunch of different ways that you can do it. I know I've seen several parents do it with ribbons or just different ways, but I thought this idea was pretty cool, and it works awesome with people with longer hair. So you just grab a rubber band or a hair tie and you just tie it like so on the mask, and it makes the ear loop a little bit bigger so you can actually wrap it around your ponytail without it pressing so much on your face. So here's a video of me just putting it on and showing you guys how I just tie it on my ponytail. And it's great, like I said, it doesn't hurt your ears, and it just helps it stay on and stay on well. Alright, so I have 2 more tips for you guys, and the second to last one is engage in heavy work. And what heavy work is basically like lifting something heavy, and that can include your own body weight, so maybe doing jumping jacks, or just jumping in place, maybe doing push-ups or something, or maybe carrying like 3 pillows, or I don't know. It's the same concept of wearing like a weighted blanket basically, but that kind of helps you calm down before, and so maybe you can do that before wearing a mask, kind of getting that energy out before introducing something. It's kind of like the idea of, like, if I just tell you to sit there still for a while, it might have helped if you were active before, to be able to sit. And so something new that might help a little bit when it comes to anxiety. But what I do recommend with that is that sometimes kids, like, well, just anyone, after doing push-ups or whatever it may be, you might get tired and you might get sweaty, and so maybe having your kid wash their face or maybe shower and then try the mask on might help when it comes to being like hot. You don't want to be hot and then add a mask, that's just double hot. So hopefully that helps. And then the last tip I have for you guys is just being very honest with your kid about what's going on with COVID. Sometimes I feel like we forget that our kids are so smart and that they can't understand if we just explain it to them. And so I think that's just important to have that communication with your kids, and just so that they understand, like, hey, this is what's going on. But anyways, that's important. But lastly, I wanted to include a social story. I know social stories are really just a great tool for kids with autism, and so I will include it right here. Alright, so here's a social story. I left a couple of blanks in the story because I know different families have different routines. Some families are more isolated than others. Other families are making the decision of going back to school, or maybe their kids go with them to the grocery store. Whatever it may be, I left it blank so you guys can adjust it as you guys wish. So this is how the social story goes. I wear a mask to keep you and I safe. There is a virus called COVID-19, so it's important for me to wear a mask. My mask covers my nose and mouth to protect others when I cough or sneeze. Wearing a mask at first may seem uncomfortable, but I will get used to it. It is important that I wear a mask in public spaces like the grocery store. However, I don't have to wear a mask at home because home is not a public space. When I'm in public spaces, other people will be wearing masks. This may seem scary at first, but then I remember that they are wearing a mask to keep you and I safe too. Even if I am wearing a mask, it is important for me to keep a distance of 6 feet from other people. 6 feet is about the size of a cow. Even though it's important for me to keep a distance from other people, it's okay for me to still hug and kiss my family. Doctors are working to find a way to make COVID-19 go away so you and I don't have to wear masks anymore. Wearing a mask is different, but I will be okay. Alright, so those are all the tips that I have for you guys. Hopefully that helped. And if you guys have any other tips that you guys have used with your kid or maybe with a patient that you guys have had or whoever it may be, feel free to leave it in the comments so other people can read it too. And thank you again so much. Thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully all that made sense. And if you guys have any questions, also feel free to ask me. And thank you. Bye.